Islam, 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 peace, peace, greetings to you all. Sheikh Way L, aka Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Fact. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Now, I've been kind of chilling, man. I'm getting some things together in my part of Georgia, planting my trees. That's my new terminology right now. But something must be seriously addressed. And that is this whole, the United States of America is a corporation. We don't need to vote. But because we're not really citizens, what else, man? It's just so much of this nonsense that has found its way inside of the Moorish movement, that what Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought is unrecognizable to us. I lie to you not. When you reach a certain level, you are not supposed to get into, your emotions. But it is hard. I've put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for this movement. I've lost a lot. I've gained a lot, but I've lost a lot, man. And I've been through a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of suffering because of my getting into this particular movement now and being dedicated to. So, man, I've just been having debates over the past couple of days via Facebook about the same issue. Moors believe that the United States of America is a corporation. Now, we would have these debates, we would ask the question, if you believe that the United States of America is a corporation like Wendy's or Walmart or Target, then where is the United States of America incorporated at? So some guys pointed to this Delaware incorporation and said, see, this is our proof. Well, Brother Ali Bey, who's in the chat right now, Islam, Brother Ali Bey, he actually called it had a phone number for the filing. And they explained that they were, they laughed at, not at him, but the notion that this company was the actual United States that was filed in the state being one of the subsidiaries of the United States of America. Oh, man, you cannot help but to laugh. You cannot. But we all have had our level of ignorance, including myself, all of us. The key is coming out of ignorance. That's the key. Coming out of it. Now, the woman told Brother Ali Bey that, no, we're not the United States of America, the country. If my memory serves me correct, she stated that they were a non-profit organization that was dedicated to, I believe, helping businesses get off the ground or something like that. It was a couple years ago. Brother Ali Bear's in the chat. He said, yeah, she was cracking up like, what? Like, we called, like, this is what a scientist does. A scientist, and we are Moorish scientists, right? Moor, that's who we are as the people. Ish means belonging to the nation of the Moors, and science, or a scientist. What does a scientist do? A scientist, he analyzes and investigates things. He or she tries to break things down to its very bare minimum, its essence, to try to figure it out. So this is what we do. Now, you got a lot of these guys that will not give up this crazy flawed theory that the United States of America is a corporation. They cite United States Code, Title 28, I believe that's Section 3002. Y'all could quote me, not quote me, but correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. And it says, they forget the part that says, and for this section, or for this section only, United States means a federal corporation. So for them, this is all the proof that they need. Please, people, go back and read the whole of Title 28 in the United States codes. Go back. Go back. Just go back and read it. It says for this section only, it is dealing with federal entities. Let's just say we sued one of these federal entities. These federal entities, these federal corporations would be viewed as representative of the United States of America. That's all it means. Only for that article does the United States, meaning a corporation, it has its power. So it's just simple investigation, simple reading comprehension that many of us seem to lack. Many of us, and I've been there. So I don't try to sit up on a pedestal, high and mighty above everybody else. I don't do that. But I'm going to show you the facts. And when you reject the facts, I'm going to call you a fool. I'm going to call you obstinate. I was on a thread today with a sister. I'm going to call her name, Yolanda L. She said Moors don't vote. She misquoted the prophet, misrepresented, misinterpreted this man's teaching. So what I did was I came on a thread and posted up where the prophet urged us to go vote. He urged us. So nobody responded to that. Everybody came on the thread ignoring that. They would post up all of these memes, all of this stuff that they pull from sovereign citizen websites. Now, let me give you a quick backdrop. The sovereign citizen movement started by a group of European Americans. This ideology of sovereign citizenry dates back to racist Southern Europeans, the right-wing spawns of the Confederate States of the South is what I call them, to today. Now, these people were mad that their property, they believed us to be property, was taken away from them. They held that the 14th Amendment was invalid. Why? Because their property was taken away from them. Now they had to go into the field. How were they going to get the work done? How? They had free labor for years. Now we have Islam, my brother, priest of El. I see you out there, brother. Islam, peace, brother. They have free labor. Now you get the abolition of slavery. Then you get the passing of the 14th Amendment some 7 years later, I believe. The 14th Amendment enforced what was already pre-existing, which was we were already citizens. This was proven in the Dred Scott case. This was already proven in the Dred Scott case. Look at the dissent of the two dissenters. I speak about this all the time. People do not want the truth. They do not want it. The fiction sounds better. It just sounds better to them. So they get on Facebook and they make these posts and they cannot back up any of it. They cannot back up any of it at all. So we got this sister right now, Severa May. She's in the chat room. In my chat rather. And I'm looking at her comments. She just has no clue as to what she's talking about. And everybody on the thread that came, and most of these people, if you say, well, let's do a live, let's get on Google Hangouts together. You bring your facts, I'll bring mine, and we'll go from there. They'll reject it. What they do is they get on a Facebook post. They'll tag about 10, 12 people that believe what they believe, and these people will come on and inundate the post with a bunch of frivolous, ahistorical information. Period. And they can't prove any of it. You ask them, where are you getting this information from? They talk all around. You keep pressing them. Where are you getting this information from? And they can't tell you. This segues into my next point. The voting rights under the 15th Amendment of the United States of America. Now, people misconstrued what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said when he said that the 14th and 15th Amendments were not necessary for the salvation of our people or the citizens. He gives you the very reason why the 14th and 15th Amendments were established. He gives you the reason to bring the South back into the Union, who were at that time without any constitutional power. Why? Because these states had seceded from the Union. They got no backing from the British government. They were trying to get the British government, the crown basically, to recognize them as the Confederate States of America. There were some back channel cables going on between the United States of America and Britain. Britain pulled back. They wouldn't recognize the Confederacy. They respected the Union. So now what the South became was a bunch of rebels, period. And in it, they seceded. Well, they had seceded already. In it, they had to capitulate in order to get back into the Union. Because now, where are you going to get your federal assistance from? You can't use the slaves. You can't, or the people that were enslaved, excuse me. You can't use them at all anymore. Now what? So now you had to come back into the Union. From this, they set up Jim Crow laws, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The 14th and 15th Amendments ensured that the South understood that our people were always citizens. They were born here. They were instrumental in the ratification of the Articles of Confederation and the Constitution of the United States of America in at least 5 northern states. This is historically factual, period. You will never, ever be able to defeat this because it's in the historical records. So you can keep following the sovereign citizen nonsense that comes from the Europeans all you want, but it's not going to make a difference because you can't defeat what is in the records. The people that say that the 14th Amendment was never ratified, you're wrong. The 14th Amendment was ratified. It was rejected initially by the very states that I just mentioned. But then, of course, they capitulated to get back into the Union. This is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali is speaking about. He's not talking what you people are talking, dealing with your adoption of this sovereignty nonsense. Period. Point blank, period. I mean, our right to vote, as expressed by Justice Curtis in his dissent to Justice Taney, was clear. He let it be known that we voted in the congressional records, and I can't call which record offhand, but I have the screenshot in my pictures. I'll post it up on my wall after this particular demonstration is finished. Now, understand, there was an argument about our people being, their citizenship being respected. And those who knew better, that debated with the Southern racists and bigots, let it be known right in the congressional records that these very people whom you are trying to disenfranchise had rights since the foundation of this country. This is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali was trying to tell you. He said, help me to bring my people back into the constitutional fold because they have fallen from it. Think, people. Our people, for the most part, did not all know that they were Moorish American Muslims. Many of them believed themselves to be blacks. Many of them believed themselves to be colored. Many of them believed themselves to be Ethiopians and Afro-Americans, etc. Yet, in the northern states, these people had rights. They had rights. When Justice Taney said that Scott had no right, that any white man was bound to respect, it was a lie. This is why Justice Curtis quit the Supreme Court. He proved that these people cast their ballots before even the passing of the Constitution of the United States of America. Period. Period. Like, we've been fooled, people. We've been utterly duped by the racist Europeans from the South. We have adopted their what they wanted us to believe, that we have no power in this land. Think. If our vote doesn't count, why are they spending billions of dollars to suppress it? Islam, Moors. Why are they spending billions of dollars to suppress your vote if it doesn't count? Think. Just think, people. I mean, I don't understand how you cannot see that. How can't you put the proverbial 2 and 2 together and say, well, if my vote doesn't count, why are these southern states, the same states, why are they trying to suppress my vote? Why are there polling lines that stretch around the block and it takes 3 to 4 hours for some people to vote? Think, people. Just think. So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, I can't save you. Nobody can save you, but if I can just get you to thinking, you will save yourselves. My brother Ali Bey, he gave a very astute analogy when he said our people are like amateur wrestlers who have been penalized. You know, in amateur wrestling, when there's a penalty, one of the wrestlers, he has to get on his hands and knees and take the bottom position, while another wrestler comes on top of him and gets the superior, he gets the clear advantage. It seems that our people just take this position by proxy. Dred Scott's decision had no bearing on us. None. It just didn't. It was for Dred Scott. No state in the North said, oh, okay, well, the Supreme Court of the United States of America made this decision. We're going to reverse the fact that we been abolished slavery in these states well before 1865. Moors, like and you got Moors in certain fractions of the Moorish Science Temple of America that believe this, and you can't tell them nothing. In their eyes and in their minds, this is what was passed on to them by their sheiks and by their leaders and teachers. And so they cannot be wrong. And they will say, oh, you're not a real member of the MST That's why you believe in the facts that you can back up with the historical records that you believe in. We real members of the MST It doesn't matter how many fractions of us it is. We're real members, and if we all believe the same thing, then we all must be right, because our priests have told us, and so we know. But we, who follow in the footsteps of wisdom, know better. We will never accept falsehoods just because 1,000 people say it. Come on, beloved. Your vote counts. Your vote matters. Prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke about casting the sacred ballot. There was no measure that was put in place that after 1933, with the passing of House Joint Resolution 192, that Moors point to another ideal that they picked up from the sovereign citizen Europeans that prevented us from voting. It didn't change anything. You got people literally saying that the government was abolished after 1933. Some guy jumped on a post the other day and said the Constitution was voided since 2010. I don't understand. That's rhetorical. That's rhetorical. But I'm going to continue. I don't understand why we want to just keep continuing with the lies. You cannot prove it. You cannot. If you can, let's get on Google Hangouts. I'll set it up. Let's get on a Google Hangout. Bring all your proofs. They just tagged a bunch of people, Jelani Bay. Bring all of them. They fear having a public conversation with myself and Moors like me because they know. And we have to call them out. I'm getting sick and tired of the confusion. There are people who generally want to come into this movement, and they look at it, but I'm confused, brother. You got Taj Tariq Bey sounds so good when he's speaking. He has to be true. Listen to him. Do you hear how well he articulates that the teachings? So that means Taj is automatically right. He sounds good. Forget the fact that 90% of that stuff he's talking about is just ahistorical. It lacks historical merit. It lacks any historical foundation other than the fact that it originates with European, Euro-American, Euro-Christian, right-wing spawns of the Southern Confederacy. Our lessons teach us that a man's ideals are his God, and that man's God today, tomorrow is not God. Before you ever picked up that ideology, you believed in something different. Now you have picked up the ideology of the European. And our prophet teaches us that we fell straying after the gods of Europe. Remember, and a man's ideals are his God, straying after the gods of Europe, of whom you know nothing. And now you can't even back up any of this stuff. You just can't. The 3/5 clause. Oh, the Constitution states that we're 3/5 of a human being. That's not what it says. That's just, it says 3/5 of all other persons. They counted the votes of our people in the slave states. They counted them. Suffrage existed. They counted that people as, or 3/5 of the population. Let me say, and there was voting in those slave states as well. But they counted our people as 3/5 of the population for representation purposes to get past measures that they were trying to get passed in the House. Like you people have to go back and get off of the sovereign citizen websites. There is not a court in the United States of America that is going to side with you. How every single judge is against your arguments? What? Every judge is against your argument? Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, if you're not careful, your brother will lead you right back into slavery. Brother Andre Williams L. just posted that. How many people that you know are in jail right now have been arrested, locked up, for following the teachings of these sovereign citizen Moors, the Tartary Bays and the Jelani Bays and the 1320 Moors out of Brooklyn, Temple 13. How many people do you know that they're following this nonsense and they're getting caught? I got the court cases, people. I've read the court cases myself. I've put in hundreds of hours in all of this research, all of it. You can't keep propagating the lies and think that we're ever going to rise as a people and then turn around and say that we are somehow misrepresenting Prophet Noble Drew Ali's teachings when that's just false. And you know that it's false. But because you believe what you believe, you have to stick with your lies. This is corny. This is not a part of wisdom. This is a part of foolishness. You're not helping anyone. You're just not. So I just wanted to get on. I didn't touch on everything that I wanted to touch on. I'm trying to look at the comments at the same time and see some of the arguments that people are making. And it's most of the arguments that the opponents to logic are making, they're made in complete and utter frivolity. It's frivolous. Point blank. It's frivolous. So if you can't use this in court, you can't drive, right? I said this on one of my other live feeds. I'm going to say it again. A driver's license is for qualification purposes. You wouldn't let somebody operate on you, right? You wouldn't let a person operate on you if they weren't qualified to operate on you, period. The same thing goes with, they have to practice. The same thing goes with these automobiles that weigh up to a ton. You have to be qualified to drive these vehicles. These are machines. They're dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So each state has agreed as a part of their social compact to adopt the Department of Motor Vehicles as a regulatory agency for people that get upon the public highways and byways. Period. It's point blank. I mean, you take a written test. Take a written test. Then take a driver's test. If you fail, you got to do it over. That means you got to go back and practice before you get on the road. You have to qualify yourself. When you Go to the Department of Motor Vehicles. You're not making a contract with anybody. You're making a contract with yourself. Public safety is what is at stake here. Imagine if you were the president or king or ruler or whatever title you want to use over a country, and people were on the highways and the byways and they kept killing each other. There were no traffic regulations at all. I'm sorry, and I'm running this red light. I'm sorry, and I'm running this stop sign. Or if you didn't have these things, who would be responsible for the lives that would be taken? You would. The states, in this particular instance, they're responsible for the public safety. The federal government is responsible for the public safety. This is why you have licenses. This is why firearms are banned in some states, and you have to have licenses to carry them in other states based on your criminal background records in some states. Like, this is just common sense. I'm not going to let you drive on the road in my state if you're not qualified to do so. Come on, people. Wake up. The Supreme Court never, ever said that you don't need a driver's license to drive. I'm going to repeat. Everybody has the right to travel. This goes to the brother and sister whose video I posted on my wall earlier. Everybody has the right to travel. You can travel by your own 2 feet. You can travel by bicycle, tricycle, unicycle, motorcycle, bus, car, public transportation, airplane. You can swim to your next location. You have that right. Nothing is restricting that right whatsoever. But in order to operate a car, you want to call it a motor-driven contrivance? Oh, be my guest. In order to operate one of these vehicles, you have to show yourself approved. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. You have to show yourself approved. So let's stop with this nonsense. And if I'm wrong, if you feel that I'm wrong in any way, shape, form, or fashion, challenge me. You all know Lord Abba. You know me. I love this stuff. This is what I do. See, I'm not the person that has to be right. A lot of people got me wrong. I'm the person that wants to be right. And so I'll even correct myself. And if you prove me wrong, I'll be the first to say, beloved, you are right. You are right, and I am wrong. So those of you that hold dear to these particular teachings, let's set the time. Let's set the date. Bring your proofs. Bring your master teachers. Bring your Taj Tariq Beys, your Sabir Beys, your Jelani Bey. Bring all of them. Let's bring them. This thing has to be ended once and for all. I can't say I follow the prophet, and then you say you follow the prophet and his teachings. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, go vote. Follow the laws of the government. Don't cause any confusion or try to overthrow the laws or constitution of the government, but obey. And then you come along and say, well, that's not what the prophet meant. Well, what did he mean then? He said enforce the Constitution. These courts are not Article 3 courts. What are you talking about? The Constitution specifically gives Congress the power to establish courts and lesser courts. Go back and look at it. You people are delusional. You're suffering from psychosis. I really believe that some of you people are mentally ill. This is why you cannot make the adjustment to the facts. The lie is better. It is better to live out fantasy. It's just much better to be in a fantastical world than to live in the reality of now because you feel powerless. You feel that you cannot change your situation. And because you feel that you can't change it, you reject anything that can. You reject anything that can. So I'm not going to stay on too much longer because I could run on for about a whole nother hour, but that's what these live videos are for, man. Short, brief. Islam, Moors. So, you know, Moors, I'm going to never stop fighting. Those that know me, they know me. I've just been on a low hiatus, just getting things in order, man. And I'm never going to stop fighting. This movement, I believe, should be at the forefront of organizing our people. Because if you look at our message, if you look at our teaching, if you look at our doctrine in and of itself, we have the medicine to cure our people, not just from a religious standpoint, but from a secular standpoint as well. We have that. We understand government. We understand civics, which is the rights and duties of citizens and citizenship. We can no longer play these games. You got these people on Facebook with no names. Fake names. Noble such and such Al Bay or Noble such and such Al Day. No profile pictures. I believe most of these people are government disinformation agents, and they're there for that sole purpose. Keep these people from ever doing anything. So when brothers like Sheikh Wayel come on, and he starts talking, when brothers like Sheikh Wayel come on, right, and he starts talking these facts, and he backs these facts up with link after link after link to the actual historical records, we have to come behind him and we have to say, no, he's wrong. He's a dirty Moor. He's trying to lead y'all back into slavery. And I'm saying, okay, well, you're going to debunk the historical records? Say what you want about me, but can you debunk what's on the congressional record? No, you cannot. You can't. You simply cannot debunk what's on the congressional records. You can't. So with that, man, I want to say peace and love to you all. Everybody know my motto. I've adopted this motto last year, maybe 2 years ago, and I've been running with it hard ever since. Don't fight the power, become the power, and then you'll have the power to make a change. And until we leave these frivolous arguments alone, we're just going to find ourselves spinning our wheels in mud on a hamster wheel, going absolutely nowhere but on Facebook, arguing the same exact point. And so with that, I'll say peace.